Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the 2012 Omega Seamaster Diver 300 meter James Bond 50th anniversary limited edition of 3,007 pieces. This is the mid-size. The full-size watch was an edition of 11,007 pieces, 41 millimeters. This watch, 36.25 millimeters, considerably scarcer at 3,007 examples. Let's face it, neither of these examples is so rare that it will appear on the cover of an auction catalog. But the mid-size watch is a fun one because it's so versatile and it gives you all of the features of the full-size timepiece. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, this watch is easy to wear. I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13 centimeters circumference. It's fairly slim compared to later versions of the Diver 300 meter. The watch is 12.9 millimeters thick. It's 43 millimeters lug to lug, but if you add the solid end links of the bracelet, it's a more substantial 48 millimeters across the wrist. So it does not look petite on medium to smaller male wrist like myself. I actually think it looks good and it's got an element of discretion to it. Plus, the 18 millimeter spacing means the watch has a fairly universal strap sizing if you want to go with an aftermarket strap. The factory bracelet, however, is a no compromise piece. It's exactly what you would have gotten on the 41 millimeter. You have that lovely weirdish hybrid of a dress bracelet and a sports bracelet. And I say weirdish because it's a decision that was made back in 1993 with the first of these, and it has withstood the test of time as the same basic design is still used today, making it one of the longest lived bracelet designs in the history of Omega. And again, because it's a hybrid of a dress and a sports bracelet, it's unusual on a hardcore dive watch, but it works well. Perhaps if you're 007 wearing either a dry suit, a wetsuit, or perhaps even a tuxedo, you have that versatility. You also have a high degree of quality. We're past the era of pin sleeves in the bracelet. As you can see, there are screws used to fix the links, including the half links, and there are half links on the bracelet for more precise sizing. You'll also note that both sides of the bracelet feature removable links. Internally, you can see it is the milled out clasp with milled out single swing arm, and you've got the same fold out dive extension that you would have expected on the full-size watch. Note too the spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps to maintain the tolerances of that component over time. This is a clasp that's built for the long haul, and you can see the definition of the Omega logo and marquee still very sharp. This watch has been minimally, if ever, refinished. The timepiece features an elegance because of its size that belies its mission as a true 300 meter saturation dive watch. And you can see the case band is familiar. It's exactly the same design as the full-size watch with the lyre style lugs, longitudinal satin finish, and the polished bevels. You have the same helium escape valve. I mentioned saturation diving, and that's exactly what that valve is for. If, under certain circumstances as a professional diver, helium accumulates inside your watch, screw this crown out prior to the dive so it can release the helium when the overpressure within the watch reaches approximately 2 to 3 bar greater than the exterior. You're protected against a crystal or seal blowout. Now, of course, the watch features that repeating 007 logo in black lacquer on the dial, and there is a ceramic insert for the bezel featuring a red lacquered 50 to remind you it's been 50 years since Ursula Andress waded out of the surf in Dr. No. We're not talking about 50 years of the literary James Bond, we mean 50 years of the movies. Now, the insert is ceramic in the bezel, so it's highly scratch resistant and it largely shields the watch. The bezel features a rather sharp detent that sounds and feels great. Let's hear. It doesn't seem to have the same resistance as the 41 millimeter watch, and I'm actually a fan of that reduction of effort because you can see that knurling has always been shallow on these Diver 300 meters, so this gives you the ability to actually use this bezel when your hands might be wet, sweaty, or gloved. Line up that luminescent pearl with the Bond-style skeleton minute hand. You have the same dial features as the full-size watch. You've got an impromptu 0 to 60 minute timer, and I actually prefer a dive bezel to a chronograph. It's just easier to read, and most chronographs don't give you a measure of 30 to 60 minutes. They give you a minute register that only goes up to 30. Plus, you don't have the downstream service costs of a chronograph when you're using a dive bezel. The dial features all applique indices and applique Omega logo and marquee, monotone black date disc. You've got stop seconds. You've got a quick set for the date. Turn it all over and you can see a little bit of caliber 2507. It is a modified ETA 2892A2 that became the caliber 2500 with the addition of this little rotor center inside a James Bond opening sequence rifle barrel. You know the motif, you've seen it in innumerable films. There is a small center of the rotor, so you can see a little bit of that caliber 2507, 27 joules, automatic winding, 48-hour power reserve, coaxial escapement, and a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It features a free-sprung balance for shock resistance, so it has many toys that belie the diminutive stature of the watch. It may not be the full-size Diver 300 meter, but it has all of the diving capability, features, and technology. Plus, it features scarcity with 3,007 pieces that the 11,007 piece full-size watch will never know. You can see this one and make it yours on the watch box. The Omega Seamaster James Bond 50th anniversary. Note that the minute hand and the bezel pearl are green lume, while the remainder of the dial is blue.